Hello, everyone, and now welcome to episode number 19 of Verdict of the Ancient Kings, Scars of More. We are back with a lot of Set 6 spoilers as we talk about the previous puzzles, more PvE talk, a lot of spoilers, more news, and a new puzzle for you guys to wrap your head around. Alongside me, we do have Nico, who is feeling a little bit under the weather. There's a really bad flu bug or some bug going around California. I'm feeling it down here too. Nico, aside from the bug, how you feeling?
Aside from the flu and the family being sick, pretty good. It looks like we're knee deep in spoiler season now, so I'm excited for the next set.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Nico, you'll have to make sure I don't spoil too much. If I say something I shouldn't, please let me know because yeah. He's aware of the situation. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump straight right into the solution from last week's podcast and video. And this particular puzzle seemed to have stumped a lot of people. I believe there was only one or two people who actually figured out the solution without getting any hints outside of the guild. And I'm just going to go ahead and list the solution right now. It's Rustin, Ruin, Monsai, Lilypad, and Pheromones. And I got to actually head over to Hex Entertainment and watch Hexahedron start to figure out this particular puzzle. And I realized that there was a particular trap in what needed to happen. So first of all, right off the bat, people realized that if you had to play a resource, the Monsai Lilypad was ultimately the best resource because you could automatically generate a troop and you got one additional resource. So that was pretty much a given. A lot of people also figured out Pheromones was needed to use on the Unbound one so that all of the vampires would attack the Unbound one. They would all die due to lethal, but more importantly, they wouldn't get any of their life drain because of Invincible. The big trick and a lot of the issues it came around people looking at a battle hopper who couldn't attack and figuring out how to remove that from the board. When I was watching people, or when I was watching Hexahedron look for the right cards, he was actually searching for sacrifice. And that battle hopper was the biggest trap out there. You actually needed to use your charge power, create a one, or at that point, a 3/1 Dreadling, and then use Rust and Ruin on your own Dreadling to destroy it, create two additional Dreadlings that would then become 4/1s, and proc the Unbound one coming into play. So hats off to everyone who gave it a try. I believe there was also some crazy solution where a player had used a naive lackey, drew into a suppressive fire, and had a ruby be their shard. And technically that did work, but it seemed out of character and out thematically. So anything else you want to add on this one, Nico?
Yeah, so the secondary solution was actually what Than came up. We gave him credit for it. He actually was one of the few that won. He gruesome deeded his naive lackey, and that's how he killed off one of the three vampires, and then he suppression fired the other two. One of the things you mentioned, I didn't know, is Unbound One considered a underworld troop? Because I don't think he would have had lethal.
He is actually considered an underworld troop, and a lot of people fell into the trap of trying to give him crush, where if you could give him crush, then since he is an unbound, he is lethal. He would only need to deal 1 point of damage to the vampire prince, the vampire princess, and the vampire king to technically deal lethal damage, and then let everything else just roll over. So people kind of got stuck on that one as well, and that's actually a really interesting idea for another puzzle in the future. People realizing that Dormant One actually gained lethal.
Ah, nice. Yeah, I actually didn't even know that.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys see another Dormant One puzzle in the future. That may be something to be on the lookout for. Moving right along, though, we have PvE, and well, we are in the middle of set, or Adventure Zone number 2 or Chronicles of Endtrap Chapter 2, as people are trying to figure out how to better use mercenaries. It's really, really nice that your mercenary decks are saved across multiple characters, and once you start a brand new character, you can start using your mercenaries. But each mercenary has their own unique feel, and it looks like you came up with a very, very aggressive tactic for Augustine. Why don't you go ahead and talk about it?
Yeah, sure. So I don't know how many episodes ago, but I shared a uh, Haraku deck for Frosting Arena. I believe that was elemental themed. So this is kind of the same in a way, where we're utilizing Obsidian Cyclops' chest equipment to give the elementals in play both Swift Strike and double damage every time we play Obsidian Cyclops. And ideally, actually, the equipment for Lightning Elemental should be weapon equipment for Storm Spike. I just don't own it yet. But what it does is it says when you gain um, two or more charges in a turn, if a Storm Spike is in the crypt, put another elemental of your choice from the crypt into play. So it's pretty awesome if you combo that with Obsidian Cyclops, because you can continually get that double damage Swift Strike buff on all of the elementals in play. So this is just a deck concept that is really good, because Augustine, as a champion, he can give anyone, any troop in play +2/+2 permanently. Mm-hmm. And then he has a passive that says when your troops have 4 or more attack, they have Steadfast. And then also he has upgrade text that says when your troops have 6 or more attack, they have Crush. So this deck really is all about giving your troops Swift Strike, or they have Swift Strike, and then getting their attack up so that they also get Crush, and then you're just quickly winning very early with this deck.
Yeah, with the Obsidian Cyclops and the double damage, I've often I've seen 6x damage or 8x damage sometimes. So even a 3/1 with 6x damage, you're dealing lethal damage with every swing pretty much. So that looks to be a lot of fun. Also, the Skittering Scar and being able to randomly drop speed on one of your elementals as well is probably a definite benefit as well. Where do you think this ranks in terms of speed running the graveyard, which is the main dungeon that people want to be farming right now?
Oh, that's actually a really good question. So the funny thing about this deck is I've only played it once, so I need to test it a lot more. But I've been working on a full mercenary reference guide for Hex Primal, so this is just one of the decks that I was working on. I'm like, oh wow, this deck's super good. I should start playing it. But yeah, maybe that's the next step. Maybe I'll go do a quick run of the graveyard and see how well it does. So I might make one modification to this deck to help the Storm Spikes once I have the weapon equipment for them, which is I probably put Crackling Bolt back in to trigger their secondary effect more often.
All right, very, very nice. So all of you guys, it looks fairly budget. Obsidian Cyclops is not that big of a chase rare, so a 30-31 plat. Lightning Elementals may actually be the most difficult thing to find, because as we know, with set 6 coming up around the corner, set 1 chests are going to start to drop, or they're going to drop from no packs being opened. And with that, no real chance to roll them in order to get that exclusive chest PvE card. So definitely get your playset Lightning Elemental. It's a 2/1 Swift Strike. When it deals combat damage, you gain a charge. The weapon equipment on this particular one, even though it's not optimal, says every single time you use your charge power, it gets +1 attack. So it gets much stronger. And then the Aqua Mask, which I'm still chasing, says that it can get 1 or 2 charges when it deals combat damage. So extremely potent ability right there, especially if you want to use more of your charge powers. Moving right along, straight into set number 6, we go into, all of the spoilers. And I was actually blown away by the number of loaded keywords for an even number set. Normally, there's some new mechanics that are introduced, but I normally see them in odd number of sets. So because they come in pairs, right now we have Conscript, we have Mobilize, and we have Diligence. And Conscript is, I got to see Conscript in action, and it is absolutely, absolutely bonkers. Why don't you go ahead and explain what Conscript is? I know the viewers at home who are watching the YouTube video can actually read, but for those listening on the train or in the bus, why don't you go ahead and define Conscript?
Sure. So it says when a card conscripts, it creates a troop of the designated faction, which is either Ardent or Underworld,
Mm-hmm.
and the cost in this case two, and then it changes all its thresholds to match those of the conscripting card. Then it puts that troop into your hand. So you play a card that has some sort of thing that says conscript. Like right now, we're looking at the boisterous ballad.
Mm-hmm.
For one cost, quick action, you can conscript a ardent troop with cost two, then then that created card gets speed. So all of a sudden, you have a 2-drop in your hand. That's going to be a single ruby threshold. It could be any 2-drop ardent troop in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and then it has speed. So I think the example they used in the article was William Rowan, which would be super broken. You drop a William Rowan with speed, and all of a sudden his
His wolf.
yeah, Rowan comes into play, and then just you win. So yeah, it sounds like it's going to be really nutty. I know you've got to test with this a little bit. I think some people don't like this kind of mechanic in TCGs, but this is the kind of mechanic in a TCG that I feel makes a TCG, because I mean it's all about random. Like, you know, there's some random in games that is good, and there's some random in games that is bad, and some people are already saying this looks like it's a bad element, but in my opinion, it looks like a real fun and good element.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those elements that, like, you roll the dice, and when you get that amazing card, when you get a William Rowan on turn two, or you somehow, not saying that you can, but you somehow play a hero of legend on turn two, it like, you feel that high and you feel that low. I don't think it's going to be something that we're really going to see in the constructed realm all that much. I don't know if people are going to be running for boisterous bards, and their all-in strategy is to get William Rowan with the Wolf Knight pair out on turn two on attacking. I think that's a little bit far-fetched, but being able to have that in limited play, have that little bit of randomness, being able to see all of those cards is going to be a lot of fun. I do think there is a little bit of a drawback with Conscript as I see it right now, and that's new players may be overwhelmed with the number of cards in limited. As it stands right now, they haven't really clarified, but right now it says creates a troop of the designated faction, which means that it can create any troop from currently all 6 sets.
Yeah.
So you could all of a sudden you can have tunneled troops on the board, and the person's like, wait, what is this card that he put under? Wait, what is this? And you're kind of confused for a moment. So we'll have to see if it's from all the sets, because if you start bringing in mechanics from previous sets, then it may get a little bit confusing for someone who is just trying to do their first Evo Gauntlet, and all of a sudden they're dealing with Reese on turn 5 because some sort of conscript action happens somewhere on the board.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what Hex decides to do in terms of format rotation. Like, are they going when set 1 and set 2 rotate out, when sec 6 launches? Does that mean that creation cards for PvP will kind of the box will be narrowed to only the sets that are constructed playable? My guess is no, that they're only going to be unique towards PvE or PvP for creation cards.
Yeah, that's my feel as well, and there will be a lot of opinion and a lot of feedback, and I know we're definitely going to hear that. So hopefully, Hopefully, it will be enjoyable. It will be fun. A little bit of randomness in a game is necessary. Otherwise, you're always playing chess. You need to be able to roll the dice and take chances, high risk, high reward cards, and that definitely looks like to be the case. Boisterous Ballad, at least in limited. Looking at Totemic Elder, it seems to be just a pure value card. A 5-drop 4/4 with the current gems, it most likely is going to be a 5-drop 4/4 flyer, and then its Death Cry automatically creates a random 3-cost troop, 2-cost troop, and 1-cost troop. It's going to be refilling your opponent's hand, and you may want to deal with the 5-drop 4/4 because next thing, what you don't want is a Hero of Legend and a William Rowan and some other 1-drop coming down on the board that all have flight when they attack. So that can be very dangerous as well.
Yeah, I think that might see competitive play potentially. It's a little expensive for what it does and a little slow, but it's kind of a nice control card. It's not. I don't know if it's quite Cosmic Shaman level, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. It will be definitely there. And we have seen an influx of Diamond Sapphire control as of late um, with all that out there. And it does have a socket, so it does work with Darkheart of Nozan if you want to go that particular route. It looks like there's going to be a lot to enjoy in the upcoming set. Moving right along to the next spoiler slash keyword, which is Mobilize. When you play a troop with Mobilize, you can, as an additional cost, exhaust a troop to reduce its cost by 2. You can only exhaust 1 troop per instance of Mobilize, and the card's cost goes back to normal once it's been played. So you're temporarily reducing the cost while it's in your hand. So things like Inspire, which are being rotated out but could see play with Conscript, will trigger just because it is a higher cost. And you also have the benefit of maybe a PvP card or PvE cards might have multiple instances of Mobilize, allowing you to reduce the cost simply beyond 2.
Yeah, and basically looking at the Cloudbounder, we can see that that Mobilize, it looks like, was an addition to it. So it looks definitely like there's going to be other cards that put Mobilize on. So if you can get like 2 or 3 instances of Mobilize on like a Typhoon Skyshaper, wow, you can play it for like free basically. And it also has that nifty little deploy ability that says, you know, you can put one of those exhausted troops back into your hand. So if you have a Sapphire troop, which a lot of them already have deploy effects, you can get a deploy effect back into your hand and then replay it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it'd be cool if you had like Prophecy, the next non-resource card in your deck gets Mobilized. That'd be interesting, to see what that could do. But I that is completely me making up a card. And I don't know if we even have any Prophecy cards coming up in the next set. Is Prophecy a set specific?
Well, we didn't. Did we see any in set 5? Do we have any now? I don't think we do. So I think it was kind of for the 3/4 block.
Yeah. So that's actually going to be interesting. We're going to see Prophecy cards because of conscripting in set 5/6
Yeah.
limited. So there's going to be a lot of weird animations happening around the board. Like, wait, what just happened? Going on. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, to say the least. Anything else you want to say about Typhoon's Skyshaper? The fact that it's a quick troop, you can use it to bounce a card that is about to get hero falled or killed or any sort of removal. You can mobilize it and kind of just bounce your card back to save it as well. There seems to be a lot of utility. You can play it to block an incoming troop since it is quick, and the cost is really going to be a 4 in most instances. So this
Yeah.
is a great card.
Yeah, it's actually a really good card. I didn't even. Sorry, the daughter's crying under my door. It's a quick troop, so yeah, definitely it will be like a defensive play where you're saving a blocker and killing another troop. I think that card is going to be. This is another card I think might be a great constructed playable card.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a shock here. You're looking at a 6 drop 4/5 quick, and then that mobilize and the come into play deploy action absolutely changes everything with it. Finally, we have diligence. Diligence is um, basically says when this troop readies, something happens. This is something that we saw in set one. It didn't have a specific keyword. I think it was the adept research adept that said when this troop readies, draw a card, and now they decided to give it its own keyword. And this card works extremely well in addition, or this mechanic works really well with mobilize, where if for some reason you're unable to attack with a card or exhaust your troop in the normal methods, you can use mobilize to go ahead and try to trigger it initially, like the Carillion Sage. If you can't attack with it for some reason, if you could somehow exhaust it, maybe even with the outpost that we currently see in set five, then it can start gaining flight, and you can start flying over your opponents and start making some sort of plays.
Yeah, I really love this. This is probably my favorite keyword of the set, and there are so many ways to play with it, especially in PVE where the sandbox is a little bit more open. Like, and then like you said, the outposts, and I have a co-caster behind me today. Sorry, but yeah, I really love this Cerulean Sage. It's a 1 drop, so it's something that I might be able to splash into PVE decks, and then the Minerax Sorcerer is going to be great and limited.
Yeah, the Mind Rack Sorcerer is going to be great. Anything where you have to exhaust a troop as an additional activated cost. The Diligence, each opposing champion discards a card. You can use activated ability that where you have to pay it to, yeah, it all of a sudden. And he's a great blocker as well. He's a 3-drop 1/3 lethal. So you're going to be getting value out of it. If you swing with it and they don't block, they're going to end up discarding a card. If they do block with that lethal, short of some sort of swift strike, you're going to be taking a truth off the board. So that's extremely great there. Also, the Rune Ear Recruiter is a unique way that they're kind of reshaping the Diligence, where you can choose one. You can either make a Shinhair Militia, or you can transform the Rune Ear Recruiter into the Glyph Ear Samurai, which has +1/+1 and Crush for each other troop you control. So after you recruit enough Shinhair Militia, the Glyph Ear Samurai leads them all into battle as this giant beatstick that just rolls over its opponent.
Yeah, it's really nice too at a 3 cost, because I think a lot of people that enjoy PvE are going to have a lot of fun with that, because there's just so many people that love the whole Shinhair concept, and it mechanically just makes sense for Shinhair.
Yeah. Going to be a lot of fun, and we'll see what else. I don't know, some sort of Dreadling Plague just swarm the board. And right now, spoiler season, everyone's just looking at the cards and trying to predict what the meta is going to be like. Have you seen any cards in particular that, after looking at the new mechanics, looking at the certain cards, that you think in set 3, 4, and 5 that they're going to go up in value, like some sort of market watch where we know what's on the horizon? What do you think are going to be those old chase cards now that can really utilize Diligence, Conscript, Mobilize?
No, I honestly haven't thought about that a lot yet, but I'll probably start to think about that a lot more as we see more spoilers.
All right. Amongst the spoilers hype, we have four more right here. Underworld Oppression, Rotpaw Gang, Wicked Web Spawn, and Valiant Reaver. First thing I want to say is that Underworld Oppression, opposing troops get -1/-1 for each different underworld race among troops you control. I actually asked some of the people at Hex Entertainment yesterday, what about Ardent? There is a Venin Ardent, and there's also, as a race, and there's also a bird. Does that mean Ardent has 6 races? And he said no, it only counts for the 4 and the 4.
Primary.
So it's the 4 primary, 4 primary. You're not going to be splashing in the other race. I guess a good question here would be, if you do have Lasgard, in Blood Ruby deck, it she is technically Venom. Would she count as the -1/-1 for the Venom in this case?
I don't think so. I don't know. It's hard for me to say because isn't she factionless?
No, no, she has the Ardent faction.
Oh yeah, so I don't think she would count. Well, it's I don't know. Maybe you're right. Because she's not underworld race. I don't think she will count.
I know she shouldn't count, but did they test that? Is my question.
I don't know. I don't think that card is going to see a lot of play, even in limited. I feel like it is. Maybe I'm guessing wrong here, but it's just too expensive for what it does. Even if you get like the full -4/-4 for 5, it might be enough value, but I think most of the time, if you're playing that card, you're not going to get more than -2/-2, especially in limited play.
Yeah, the reason why I say this is based upon what we're seeing here, there could be other cards, not just Underworld Oppression, that trigger off the amount of races that you have, Ardent or Underworld. So maybe Underworld Oppression's a little bit too far of a reach, but some of the other cards in the set might be useful.
Well, look at the next card, Crota, because I just realized this. It's a Necrotic Warlock and a Shinhair Warlock. So is that going to count twice for Underworld Oppression?
It does.
Maybe they said it in the article and I didn't read it, but
Yeah, it does, and and I can say that there are going to be some dual race cards. So if you look at the Rotpaw gang here, you actually see both the Necrotic and the Shinhair. And what's nice about this is you see both of the themes from each of those races within this card. So getting the flight, getting the life drain, by sacrificing troops is definitely a Shinhair a theme, while while this is in your crypt, coming back from the crypt manipulation is more of a necrotic theme. So I like how this blends both of those races into one card, and gives you a good bang for the buck.
it is a pretty cool card. I don't really have anything else to say about it. It's going to be fun and it's appropriately costed for what it does.
Yeah, looking at Wicked Web Spawn, this is this is like a dream come true for anyone who's played Limited and had Blood, where you just want to start cycling more and more into your crypt. When you scrounge, summon 2 Dreadlings. If you didn't have if you only had one troop there, and you scrounge for one, now you have two. So this is a way to keep your crypt full of things in order to get that engine going. If you want the little squirrel that has a scrounge of 6, being able is it pesky pipit?
Yeah, Pesky Pipit is the wild one. Yeah.
Or the Tyrannosaurus, or the guy that pulls in the Tyrannosaurus Hex if you also scrounge 6 as well. Yeah. We'll see if those work.
There's a lot of good cards for that. I think it's going to be actually a really nice 2-drop to have for Blood and Wild themed decks. Not only for the when you scrounge summon 2 Dreadlings, but also for all the assault triggers that it'll help generate as well.
Yep. Moving on, we have the Valiant Reaver. It's a 4-drop 3/5, which is a fairly decent body, but its main text is, while this is valorous, it deals double damage. It's easily going to become dealing 8 damage every time it swings, and as a 4/6 when it's valorous, is going to be quite difficult to deal with.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm not looking forward to having to play against that. It's like another Mama Yeti. It's like, please stop dropping Mama Yetis. How do I win limited?
Well, I will say this: Mama Yetis are going to be a little bit more difficult to pull off, just because there's only going to be one set 5 pack, and if someone passes a Mama Yeti and then a baby Yeti shows up, well, yeah, people may hate draft the baby Yeti, making sure that the Mama Yeti doesn't go around too much.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be hate drafting babies.
All right, moving right along, we got 3 to 4 more spoilers here. We have the BuzzTech Innovator. It's a 6-drop, 4/4 Deploy summon 2 Bumblebots, and when you scrounge, robot you control gets +2 attack. Those Bumblebots are 1/1 flights, 1/1 flight with speed, and they are robots, so they do come in as 3/1 flyers the turn they come into play. So that can be a very, very dangerous combination. Add in the socketable minor gem where you create dreadlings, and you could easily be swinging in with 12 damage for 8 mana if your opponent doesn't allocate the right number of blockers.
Yeah, the BuzzTech Innovator is a really cool card. I think that'll be super fun to play around with for PvE as well. And I think it could be another one of those cards that makes constructed decks go off that are kind of going for a robot theme.
Yep. Spore Romancer, 7-drop 3/7. It is a little on the high side. I don't know if we're actually going to see. I don't know. Maybe Winter Moon can pull it off somehow. But it's a 7-drop 3/7. Deploy Deathcry Diligence. Summon a Sparkle Cap. Sparkle Cap being a 2-drop 2/1 socketable minor Shroomkin. And it will end up getting a random socket that you have the thresholds for.
Yeah, it's a cool card. I don't think it's going to see a ton of play, but what I do like about it is there are a lot of cards that create Shroomkins too, especially in PvE. That'll be super fun to just randomly get. I think the Diligence ability on it is probably the best because that's the most recursive. But yeah, I would like to see gem rotation before the sockets for the Sparkle Caps are worth the time investment in playing a Sporemancer.
Yeah, going to be interesting there. And finally, moving right along, we have the Intrepid Conjurer. If Diamond Weenie was not a thing before, it definitely is now. Intrepid Conjurer, every time you play a Valor on it, well, it has a one-shot where it summons another Intrepid Conjurer. So you can go wide very, very fast with this particular deck using, I believe, the Moonlight Elder, which gives you a Valor for every Ardent troop you have in play, is an easy way to just make sure you always have Valors in your hand ready to go. I'm making things up right now. Couple it with a Cyclone Shaman, which makes all of your actions cost -1, and those Valors are free.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking the same thing. Cyclone Shaper and Valor is becoming free would be really cool, especially if you do something like attack with Hero of Legend and your Intrepid Conjurers, and then play the Dream, which is like a cleanse, and then you get all the Valors in your hand that are free. You replay them, you get all these Intrepid Conjurers coming back into play. That would be pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, the cleanse where you revert it.
you revert the one shot.
You revert the one shot, and then you get the Valor anyway, so you can play it again. Oh, that's gonna be a limit. That's gonna be a limited combo right there. So, cleanse goes from situational to a must pick if you have an Intrepid Conjurer. All right, moving right along, we have Absolute Power, 8 cost, triple threshold, draw any number of cards. I don't even know what else to say to that. It just seems like such a strong way to refill your hand, do what you need to do. If there was only a Sapphire card that made a card free, like some sort of prophecy.
Like the card that actually does that.
Yeah. So we'll see if people will live the dream and try and go for get Absolute Power, completely refill their hand. And who knows, this might work in some sort of Blood Sapphire where you purposely draw a lot of cards to get cards into your crypt as well. Because you don't have to draw a set number. So if you want to draw 25 cards, you can get that perfect hand, get cards into your crypt for some reason, and then follow it up with the best turn ever.
Yeah, like I think someone mentioned Hand of the Black Crucible. It's a pretty cool combo with it. there's a bunch of crazy stuff you can do with this card. It should win you the game like right after you play it. Especially if you're building around it in limited, you might shoot yourself in the foot, but hopefully you're mindful of your deck size and what your deck can do. But this is really a constructed card that should enable combo and should allow you to win right when you play it.
Yep. Following right around the corner, we have, well, two beautiful pieces of art. Some sort of undead shrouded in a cloak of some sort.
Yeah, kind of looks like spirits, maybe
Spirit
spirit.
spirits or phantoms. All I know it is beautiful, beautiful art. And following right along, we see a coyote putting a headdress on a human. Not quite sure what to make of it, but it is just really, really nice artwork, and I really like the direction that they are taking Hex in terms of just getting us to be immersed in their world.
Yeah, and my guess for that card is kind of like that card we were looking at earlier. Is it might be the human slash coyote dual troop. Anyway, I don't know what it does. It looks like it might be healing based. Is my guess.
I'll pass. I'll pass for now.
Oh, you might know what it is. So yeah, that's fine. That's just my guess.
All right, so let's go ahead and Scars recap. Everything we know about Scars of War that we are allowed to talk about. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Here's a bullet list of everything. If you guys haven't checked it out, definitely go to the website. I think both me and Nico's voice are starting to go. It's been a very, very well flu-ish bug season right now.
Yeah. So I guess people can read this on the forums, so we don't really have to go through it. But basically, just kind of hinting at a bunch of different cards that are going to be coming out. And I guess the only thing I can say from the list is kind of looking forward to Copycat, seeing what that is, because I like copy cards.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that.
I saw a scapegoat, and I just kind of laughed when I saw a scapegoat. So I will tell you that a scapegoat is probably going to be extremely annoying in limited.
Is it Wolvir?
What is Woldir?
Is it a Wolvir card? Like the race?
I think it's a goat.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that'll be interesting. I think it's a funny named card for sure.
Yeah, it actually it actually coincides with a bullet point up top, I believe.
Oh. Okay.
And with that, I'm gonna switch it away so that.
One cost troop that can't be dealt fatal combat damage. Okay, got it.
All right. Hey. Why do you say that? Anyways, moving.
Because that's annoying.
All right. So moving right along, we are upon a new VIP season: Lasgard's Vengeance and Ripple of Janeingo. I don't. How do I say that?
Did 9 go? I don't even know.
Yeah.
I'm sick. I'm not gonna try to pronounce cards.
I just call it the Chaos Ripple that bounces your entire your opponent's army back to their hand and wins you a game in limited. Two very, very powerful cards with a good assault, and Lasgard's Vengeance, perhaps the big chase, I think, this time around, since it is used very, very heavily. I'm surprised that Ripple isn't used in more decks, since it does have it almost allows you to control the board extremely, extremely well.
I think the major issue with Ripple and Constructed is that not many decks that play Sapphire as a main threshold are aggressive, so you might not be able to get a lot of assault triggers on it before you need to play it. That's my guess. And I think Lasgar's Vengeance is really going to be the chase. it'll probably drive a lot of people to VIP this rotation.
Hmm.
The art's pretty good. I mean, I'm not. I kind of like the original. I don't know. I like AA cards, but sometimes I like the originals a little bit more.
Hmm.
So I'm definitely going to try to get 4 copies, but I'm fine with the original art on that card.
Yeah, I might throw it in and just to get that to be my 10th alternate art card in a cardboard tube samurai.
Oh, good
You
point.
want flexibility now that alternate art cards are sometimes necessary in deck building and PvE, which seems really strange, but yeah, it
Then I better get 4 of those. I guess I'm gonna have to work hard.
all right. Moving right along, Nico, you have a new puzzle for us, and this is definitely within the realm of PvE. And it is dealing with everyone's favorite old man who says crazy things while talking to you aboard a pirate or a ship. It's Old Man of the Sea. And, well, you pretty much are handicapping to winning turn one.
Yeah, so that's a challenge. There's actually quite a few answers because of the setup here. So I guess since I'm sick, it's probably good for me to read this. So I may be old and the sea be cold, my boat decrepit and full of bold. Fear me for many foes I've rolled. Now I've been told in a single turn I'll fold to a truly bold deck building master. Are you sold? So that's just kind of the setup for the idea. Can you win on turn one? Basically, all the only talent points you have are in crew. You can see why I like crew in the PVE article that I launched today. It might help you get some ideas if you're trying to figure out this puzzle. And there's kind of a special thing for this puzzle because there are so many unique answers that we're only going to count you for raffle entry for a unique answer. So if you're the first one to submit a unique answer with a card that I would call a unique activator, and what a unique activator is a card that enables your combo to go off. So that could be, I'll give away one, Crimson Clarity. Let's say Crimson Clarity is your unique activator. So I will only accept one solution that has that as an activator. So that's still on the table if someone wants to use it. But there's plenty of others, and just be mindful of if you know how the boat stuff works, if you know how the crew stuff works, you will be starting with the captain's parrot in play, and then I guess I can give it away that you will also be starting with a 1-cost rare and a 2-cost uncommon in play as well, since those are your talents. So when on turn one, he has 50 health, he has a 61 card deck, so it's not going to be easy, but it can be done.
Yep, so we look forward to all of your solutions, or Nico does. He'll be reviewing them all and vetting them. Thank you, everyone, and hopefully we'll be back. Verdicts of the Ancient Kings will be back with more Set 6 spoilers. And, well, next week, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Right?